This is Dahn J.
And Yrvette Renae.
And this is Redemption Hospital. Sometimes you got to recognize that you're the reason for your own failures.
And that dream partner you want is only attainable if you fix your mindset.
We both had failures and heartbreak that drove us close to desperation.
But with prayer and education, we found each other and knew that this was what God destined for our lives.
Our job is to teach you the fundamentals to becoming a great partner so you can lay down a foundation for that person that you really want in your life. After all, we believe that if God was through with you, he would have called you home by now.
So sit back and enjoy some laughs, inspiration, and education on Redemption Hospital.
Go and. 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 Go and.
Okay, let me know.
Let me know. All right. Songwriter says, never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me. I think I remember you say sometimes it laughs in love, but sometimes it hurts instead.
That's the song. I love Adele.
I love her too, man.
Best.
She's awesome. Her songs are so
Icon.
raw, so pure. They're pure like that tea that's just pure. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Hi.
We want everybody to know. Stop doing that stupid stuff you guys do that ruins your lives.
The stupid stuff that we did.
Stupid stuff that we did.
Yes.
We did it.
For sure.
We got the stamps.
Couple times.
3 times for me, man.
Listen.
What they say? I got the receipts.
I got the receipts.
Ooh. So listen, guys. Today we are talking about if a family structure trumps out being a single mother or single father. And I will say off rip, we already know that having a family warrants more success for many people.
Yeah.
If you look at most people who are out here, their story is going to say, I had a mother and I had a father.
Yeah.
But it's not shine light upon because that's not inspirational to people for their journey. I'm in a bad relationship. So that means I want to leave my person. So we're going to shed light on the people out there that, have bad relationships too. And let's see. So all you'll pull up is YouTube videos of people who made it as a single, who only had one mom versus the 90% of people who are very successful and had 2 parents. Yeah. But I want to pull up some statistics, man. This is coming from, singlemothersguide.com. This is coming from the root, okay? Single motherhood has grown so common in America that today 80% of single parent families are headed by single mothers. A third live in poverty. 10.89 million single parent families.
That's crazy.
10.89 million. This is of October 2023. 79.5 of them are headed by single mothers, which means you have that many women, which is okay if you want to work, but you have that many women, probably, I don't know, it's a gray area, who would not mind working and having a child. So 2 things ring in my head before I continue. 2 things ring in my head. You tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
If I think about it logically, you either laid down with somebody you weren't really comfortable with, but you stayed with them. And then you had kids, and then it just became too much, right? You knew it was too much at some point when you had kids.
Yeah.
So now you work alone. Or you had a family and you really didn't want the family, and you've already plotted your way out. Am I missing? Do you think there's anything else? Am I missing something?
Of course, you have the situations where the woman does want the family and the man is just for whatever reason not acting right. And some people know their self-worth and they're solid within themselves, and they're like, you know what, I'm good. I'd rather be by myself and with my kids than just to be in this relationship just to say I'm in it, knowing that you don't mean me no good.
So that's perfect. So then that means this episode is not an attack on anybody.
No.
This episode is shedding light, because our job is what? Bringing families back together. Mm-hmm. And you know what I say, guys? Go back home, sis. Okay? Go back home, bro. Ain't nothing out here.
Not a thing.
Not a thing. Trust me.
Craze.
Craze. But this is definitely just to shed light on statistics and shed light on successes, man. I'm going to tell you right now, you have a better chance at giving your children and people around you success. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say this before I read this too. A lot of guys, myself included, will say, I ain't dating no single mother. I'll date her, but I'm not going to get involved with her. It's not that we really don't want to take care of another man's seed or another man's mistake, and that's the gray, or that's the black and white. The gray area is if you had a child with a man and you use that child as a pawn to that man, that child is just a bigger pawn to me as a stepdaddy, because I'll get very attached to them kids, and I'll get so attached, and as soon as they do something wrong, I can't punish them. But you want me to feed their bellies. I can't punish them. I can't tell them about life. I can't teach them wisdom. I can't teach them anything above what the master teaches them. Because if the master is getting, or if they're getting teachings more than what the master is getting, you being the master, right? Because you don't see them as children, you see them as objects. If I teach them more than the master, now I'm outshining you. And now that puts you in a bad spot. Man, it's a whole thing, the whole big reason why men don't want to take care of children. A lot of women want to me too that whole situation or scenario, but the reality is you have a woman who doesn't mind being submissive by nature. You have a man who doesn't mind leading by nature. So you think of the animal kingdom of, again, how lions and lionesses will go, or lionesses will have children. That lion somehow isn't there anymore. Maybe he got killed in battle, whatever the case is. A new lion will come in and say, oh, you got stepkids? I'm killing them. That lion will kill them kids, literally, and then start a family. And that lioness will let him. So I'm not being funny. It's a respect thing. I'm not saying you do that. Don't kill kids, guys. It's the stupidest shit in the world. Dummy. But anyway, I'm saying you should understand what you're getting into, ladies. When you lay down with a man, and Ann has this, she had this for a while. She said, I ain't having kids with nobody. I'd rather
listen. Ain't gonna happen. Yeah, you tried. Sorry you just found out, but I was on birth control the whole time. I knew from the beginning I was not playing those games. I came from a 2-parent household. No matter how great the relationship was or wasn't, my parents were still together, and that's what I want for my kids. So I wanted to be 199% sure that the person I had kids with was the person I was going to be with for the rest of my life. Clearly, none of them before made the cut. It was you. So therefore, I don't have kids, you guys.
Yeah, we're going to have some kids regardless at some point. But also, I think, man, I'm going to say this. Maybe I had a leg up, too, with Ann, because she didn't want to have kids with guys that she knew weren't going to make the cut. But I think her actually seeing me be a father to my kids maybe it necessarily gave her a leg up, or didn't necessarily give me a leg up, but maybe allow her to see like who I already was to these kids. Because she could know that I'd be a good man and be a good father. But to see it in first person, I could be wrong, but to see it in first person like that, well, he's already a father. He's a good father. He's there.
Yes, and you have a whole football field of children.
Oh, listen.
A good 5.
Yeah.
And they are awesome, and they're amazing, and they're loved. And you're right.
And Ann's trying to have 4, so we're going to have the starters and the benchers.
Listen, we're going to pull up in a school bus.
In a school bus. Yo,
yes.
I told her we need to hurry up and get this limousine, this Lincoln limousine.
Ain't nobody getting that doggone Lincoln limousine.
It's either that or we're going to have to show up one of those Mercedes.
Those Mercedes being buses.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Nah, I want that limousine, man. Let them kids ride in style.
That is not an everyday car.
It don't have to be.
Whatever.
But yeah, man, y'all gotta be careful out here. I want to read this because I want to see what your thought process on this is, and because I need to know. I have my thought process. You guys know if you've been watching Luminous Horizon what my thought process is. But out of these statistics, 31.3% were poor. 24.3% were food insecure. 45.4% received food stamps. So this is my question. Mm-hmm. If you never watched him, watch him. He's amazing. I watched The Lead Attorney. Mm-hmm. And The Lead Attorney is amazing because he outlines, as an attorney, right? Goes through divorce stuff, all that. He outlines how law works.
Yeah.
Marriage law, believe it or not, combine two people together. If you make a contract with each other, the government says, cool, you agree, that's it. According to The Lead Attorney, that's how the government wants it. The reason why they treat you just like another case when you get to court is because in their mind, you were supposed to do this already.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to come in and be like, till death do us part, just sign this generic. It's like going to a car dealership and saying, give me something.
Yeah.
They're going to give you the crappiest car on the lot.
Yeah.
So they wanted you to have had a contract in place that was fair for the both of you, right? Mm-hmm. But if you didn't, now you have to go by their standards and everything that they do, how they do it, et cetera, et cetera. But the bad part comes in where he outlined how marriage is supposed to be or how marriages work and how people are treating marriages now. It is a business. Mm-hmm. So marriage is a business. We think that it's still this lovey-dovey thing, right? 45.4% receive food stamps. We think it's this lovey-dovey thing. People get married because it's a contract. It's literally like saying, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Now, with a contract, what keeps people bound is accountability. Mm-hmm. So if we write a marriage contract that says we're going to do things our way, when all else fails, if this marriage doesn't work out, then you get the half with working with me, right? We'll still work together. We'll still do this, and you'll get half. For the rest of your life that you are working, we will form bonds. We will form trusts. And whatever our children have, whatever those children have, whatever, it will go to those children and go to those trusts. That's a good contract.
Yeah.
Versus going to the state. The state will say, oh, half, and just pay her whatever she does, whatever, because they want it out of their hair.
Yeah.
People, I didn't know this until I watched The Lead Attorney. People get married for that reason. And he had people come on the show and he asked them, he said, what is a good reason to get married? And you know what our Americanized people said?
What they say? For
love. I've never seen that man laugh so hard. Because people get married for those people who are overseas that they need to come over and they're doing a service for a family's friend.
Yep.
Right? There are other times people get married because they want to get into a certain clause together because they know in order to get certain business standards or certain business laws or whatever the case is, it's more beneficial to go into it as two, right? Yeah. And the craziest part is people get married, and when they get married for those reasons, they don't have feelings involved. But you know what the craziest part is? And I could be wrong. And a lot of those situations, it's kind of weird. It's like a Lifetime movie. They go in, they're like, this is the principle. This is why we get married. I don't have to love you, none of that stuff. But they end up falling in love because they followed some type of like agreement. Yeah. Nothing makes a person feel more in love than agreement.
Yeah.
So it's like now they have a marriage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. So he outlined this, and now that I'm looking at the statistic, and I'll get to the question, if 45.4% receive food stamps in a relationship where you're not getting abused, mm-hmm. in a relationship where you're not getting, your name tarnished or embarrassed or abused or anything like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people quit relationships because they just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
But at what point, because I had this thought process with you, mm-hmm. we had bad points, mm-hmm. but I got to a point where I'm like, even if I sleep downstairs for a month, at some point it will reconcile.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave her because it's a bad point. Mm-hmm. That's an immaturity thing for me. Yeah. So at some point we'll get there. But for you and your thought process, Ann, and you have the whole floor, 45% on food stamps. Mm-hmm. At what point is a relationship worth staying regardless? And at what point is a relationship say, I'm good, I'm out?
So I feel like a relationship is worth staying in regardless when you know at the end of the day that person has your best interest at heart. I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. So if that man is a good leader, he's God-fearing, he's taking care of me and my kids, He's making sure we're okay. He's out here working. He's being a man, right? I feel like I think a lot of people have this notion in their mind that relationships are supposed to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that works. Anything worth having is worth working for. And if it's too easy, it's not real. Let's just be honest.
Right.
So it's one of those things where people hit rough patches and all of a sudden they're just out of love. I can't do this anymore. Oh, you're the worst thing ever. What happened to this person I was with before? We're all human. And when you're with somebody, you're with a whole nother being that has different thoughts, different emotions, different traumas, all of this. So you're going to, at some point, I don't care how perfect you guys are together, you're going to have rough patches. It just is what it is. It's a law of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of people hit those rough patches and all of a sudden the world just ends, right? And I'm one of those people, sometimes I've had to pull myself out of that thought process sometimes because I want everything to be perfect. I want us to be on good terms always. Because you're, at the end of the day, you were my best friend, period, before anything else.
Likewise.
So I always want us to be absolutely perfect, but it's just not how it works. Yeah. We're going to have days where I'm just looking at you and I'm like, who is this person? And you're going to look at me the same way. Yeah. It is what it is. But you have to know, that's why I don't like people who just get with other people, and I had to pull myself out of that as well. Just get with people to get with them.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It doesn't make sense, because when you hit these rough patches, that's what holds it together, is knowing at the end of the day, this is somebody who I have a purpose with. This is somebody I know I have a future with. Mm-hmm. This is somebody who's great for my kids, whether they're my kid's father or not, whatever the case may be, I don't know. This is the person I want to be with. Like, that's the only thing that gives people through rough patches, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. What else is there? If you really just didn't like the person in the beginning, you were just doing something.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's nothing else to bind you together. Yeah. That's why you have to go into it with purpose. You have to go into it, if you're a praying person, with prayers. I don't know.
No, you know. And I think people don't get the aspect of, if I'm not getting something out of it. You and I just had a rough conversation about, you initiating, right? You coming out of your shell and initiating what you want from me, what you want in life. Mm-hmm. And the rough part of the conversation for us, or for me, or for you, I would say, is not knowing what to expect. But I had to give the reassurance that if nothing comes out of it for 2 weeks, if it's that hard for you to do it, and you do something one time, I'm not focused on the expectation. And I think what helped you, correct me if I'm wrong, I think what helped you is understanding you still got your best friend out of the process. Like, I wasn't going to treat you different because I'm like, hey, I want you to start learning how to initiate. You never had to. I want you to learn how to start doing that. And it was the first night was crazy. It was fun. It was really fun. But I had to show you that you are still going to be my best friend. That is what happens when you lead with purpose. When you lead with the mindset of, what am I going to get out of it? Then I'll be like, well, day one went by and she didn't do anything. Day two went by, she didn't do anything. I don't think I can do this relationship anymore. This is not fair. Yeah. When you go to it with purpose, the whole purpose of this entire thing is to teach you. That's it. Yeah. So if nothing happened, I mean, would it suck? Yeah. But if nothing happened, you have to understand, okay, give her another 2 weeks, man. Give her another week. Give her another 5 days. Ask her what's going on. It's the purpose is to lead you. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people go in and they just, oh man, I just can't. I can't. And if you guys are wondering, for all the listeners, Anne has lived in many relationships, and well, not many. I'm sorry. She lives in 3 relationships, and the guys that she was with either didn't put her in a position to where she learned how to initiate what she wanted. Right? She had a hard time initiating love and what she wanted. She knew what made her feel loved, but it was hard for her to give that back to somebody initially. So on one end of the spectrum, not to share too much, but a guy who has not gotten that just fell back into reaching into old women instead of trying to lead her. So instead of leaving childish things behind, right? Says, I put them behind me. I know how to do them, but I put them behind me on purpose. It's a choice. So instead of doing that, he just went back to the childish things, and it didn't teach her anything. So the second guy, he was totally fine with doing everything because he just didn't have a purpose at all.
Yeah.
So he just was head over heels. So she never got a chance to show this. And the purpose of me leading her to me not initiating anything for 2 weeks was so that when we get to the point where people need love and people need time, people need attention, people need affection, whatever the case is, there's going to be a time when she's counseling somebody and that person will be talking, whatever the case is, and she wants to give a hug. And she'll feel so like, I don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should do this. Maybe I'll let them give me, if they're really hurt, then they'll give me a hug. If I really help them and gave some information, they'll give me a hug. Instead of just saying, yeah, now's my time. Let me hug her now. You know what I mean? So that's the whole purpose of doing this. Not necessarily so I could be like, I want to feel more loved and, you know, because she is a very, we're going to get back to it, but she's a very, very, very submissive woman. If I say, hey, I'm gonna bust you down tonight, she like, that's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. So
listen.
Right. So it's getting together with purpose. And if you guys don't have a purpose, there's no reason for you to be together. I was in relationships because there was a slight small moment that something was great.
Yeah.
Of course it was going to end. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So now, what are some flaws that a man can have that will not disqualify him from losing his family?
Okay, so I will start off with, I can only go for, I'm going to talk from experience. So first, I'm going to say, a man that is not where he, right, quote unquote, is supposed to be in life, but he's honestly trying. There's not a timeline on success. There's not a timeline on getting to your purpose. So if a man is really out here, he's trying, he's busting his butt, he's working, he's doing this, it's just life is life in a little bit, and he's just not where he's supposed to be. I don't feel like there's a where you're not doing enough, you're not making enough money, and you're not da 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 da. So I'm just out. To me, that just looks like that you were with him to be provided for, and you weren't there to necessarily be a helpmate. So you're giving up because he's just not where you want him to be. But who says that where you want him to be is where he's supposed to be right now? Now, sometimes you do have the little lazy man that lay on the couch and play video games all the time and drinking with the boys and spending money on this, but he not putting it in the household. That's different. That's not the situation I'm talking about. I'm talking about men that are really trying. I don't think that should disqualify you from having your family just because you're in a rough spot. We've all been there. We've all done that. And as long as you're trying, honestly trying, I mean, as a woman, get out there and get a job too and help them.
So what I'm hearing is a man is not disqualified and a woman is not qualified to leave a man because she has a timeline on what she thinks his success looks like. Okay.
Exactly.
But a man who lazes around, now we get into the meat and potatoes right now. A man who lazes around, women have extreme discernment for the most part. If she's tapped in, this is not all women. Yeah. But a small percentage of women have great discernment. So she knows if it's a phase. Yeah. She knows if he's going through something, he lost his mama, something might happen. So you say, I'll give him 6 months, I'll give him a year, whatever the case is. You know that lifetime is the goal. Yeah. Right? With that being the goal, at what point does he lose the luster? If we say till death do us part, what point does he start to lose the luster? He used to be that man that was going out there and going to accomplish and all that stuff. Do you now realize that he was never really that man and he really just had a phase of wanting to accomplish things and just stopped? Or do you say, if he is that man, what are your next steps? Do you try to pick him up from where he is? Or do you just say, he ain't the man I thought he was, man. Well, 5 years is a good run, man. You know, it's time to go.
Well, if you know that it's not typical of him to not be out there trying to achieve goals and do better and all of that, that's when it's your responsibility as his helpmate to be like, hey, you know, you okay? What are you going through? Like, clearly, if he's not typically that person, it's something going on deeper within him. And as a helpmate, you have to try to pull that out of him. And even if that means you giving him time to process and deal with whatever he's dealing with, and you go out there and bust your behind and reach your goals and bring in some money yourself, sometimes that's what you have to do. Now, if he stays, if you do all that, you let him go through the process of figuring out why he's not motivated, and he's still down in the dumps now. I mean, I don't know what to say about that one.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, it's like, okay, as a man, I need you to lead. I need you to provide. We need to figure something out. I've given you time to process whatever you're going through, whether you told me or you didn't tell me, whatever the case may be. Let's get it together. And then once you keep trying and he's just not getting it, then that's when you have the conversation. Well, look, this is becoming a little difficult.
Yeah.
I've given you time. We're going to have to figure something out.
And this is the perfect time for a woman, excuse the terminology, to help red pill a man. Reason being is, on one end of the spectrum, she can keep trying. She can keep trying. She will get fatigued. She has to let him know, listen, I understand that you used to be this guy. What I'm looking for right now, you're not doing.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees. I want to, I don't want to leave you because, and this is assuming they don't have kids. I don't want to leave you just because my needs are not getting met.
Yeah.
But your energies are bringing me down.
Yeah.
And where you are in life is bringing me down. It's been a year, and I've been trying to help you. Every 365 days I've come home to you and tried to help you. I can't guarantee that if I leave you and give you a chance or give you a break, that someone else won't come.
Yeah.
And it's in those moments. Men need wake-up moments. That's what we need. A lot of times we sit here, your sweet response, a healthy man would see that response and be like, I'm letting my baby down. I'm letting her down, man. And he'll see you. I'll be damned if you go out there and go get a job and I'm sitting here sulking. I'm being funny. I'm not being funny. There's a lot of hurt and stuff that you could take in life.
Yeah.
I'll take a week. I'll take a few. I might take a month. But I'll be damned if I sit here and be like, oh, woe is me. Life is blah, blah, blah. Because there's nothing new under the sun, especially in God's eyes. Not even death.
Yeah.
Nothing. So if God operates under purpose and God operates under principle and his own principle that he made and guarantees our successes from those same principles. So hurt is going to come and it's going to be there. That's fine. But you can't let that thing overtake you to the point where you start disobeying principles.
Yeah.
One being, man don't work, don't eat.
Yeah.
There's only but so, even as a CEO, there's only but so much. If I think about running an application, our whole team runs an application and they get posts, they get blogs, they get all this stuff. But if I said, guys, I'm going through a phase right now, we're all going to take a break and just wait a little while. Before you know it, the post of the day, profile of the day, all that stuff, that stuff has been the same for a month. You've been playing a video game for a month and it hasn't upgraded.
Yeah.
It's got bugs and all this stuff I'm complaining about. Eventually I'm going to stop playing. Another person came out. The whole world of life is competitive with men. It's competitive. Somebody else wants what you want. Mm-hmm. So you stop, they start, they get what you got.
Yeah.
So in order to help your man get to the next level, he has to know, buddy, there's no guarantee that we'll even have any relationship. I'll always be a friend. Mm-hmm. But there's no guarantee. It's been a year. Yeah. And then with that information, that is when you can let go of the guilt that you might feel in your heart later. It's going to hurt you because you're like, man, I had expectations. Yeah. You broke my expectations. But that 90% of the time will wake him up. And it should wake him up. Because speaking from a man, I love y'all listen, all y'all listening, I love the crap out of my aunt. And I'm Robert, she's Aunt, in case you didn't know.
Who's Aunt?
Right, who's Aunt? I love my aunt. And the thing is, she has moments in life where she helps me become a better man by telling me things about myself. And it's crazy because I wouldn't have been ready for her. I would not have been ready for her not even a year ago. Because I used to be that guy, when you tell me something about myself, I'll redirect the whole conversation. Just so I don't have to hear it. But she's told me about myself at least 7 times in very, very like pleasant ways, but it hit me and stabbed me so vigorously because she was right. But it did something to me, man, to listen to her because she has the best interest. And it changed my life in many aspects in this short amount of time. And I know the wisdom and the nugget she gave me is going to change it's going to change the rest of my life. But I had to listen. Anne gave me moments. Like we're talking now. She gave me moments with transparency and what's coming out of her heart. And every guy, if you respect your woman enough, you need to listen to her on that level. You have to listen to her on a level that says she wants the best for me. Now, if she's nagging you, different. That's very different. But like I said, all men, not all men, most men have that trigger point.
Yeah.
Where it's not necessarily desperation, but it's I got to do something.
Yeah.
So I like where you're coming from with that. All right, next topic. How much important are the children's needs over yours?
Basic needs, food, clothes, things of that they need to actually survive.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're just top priority. I feel like the needs of a mother are extremely important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say basic needs are more important, I mean, like if it's a day you don't have any money, you just have a little bit of money. You eat or the kids eat. The kids should eat, in my opinion. But when you talk about long term, whether it be, well, I don't want to go back to school because I don't want to sacrifice that time that I could be spending with my kids, or I don't want to get the second job even though I know I need it because whatever the case may be. If you're not okay, those kids are not going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you do to improve your life is going to improve those kids' lives. So when you think about it in that aspect, it kind of just varies by the situation. But at the end of the day, anything that's bettering you as a mother is bettering those kids. So go for it. Even if you have to sacrifice, even if they have to sacrifice time, maybe attention, whatever it may be, just for a little while. It'll all be for the greater good in the end. Situations like that, I feel like the mom should always put themselves first.
That's actually good. Do you think the same goes for a father?
Definitely. Are we talking about single fathers or are we talking about fathers that are in the household?
Fathers that are in the household. Single fathers, yes, to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of free time, right? But fathers that are in the household, specifically that live, right, or operate under the household.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same thing. If you want to go to technical school for 6 months, but you work 12 hours a day and then you're going to be at school for 3 hours a day, you may only see your kids and their mom every now and again, a couple hours out of the week. It's a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice once again for the greater good. It's a sacrifice for your family. And I feel like in situations like that, the mom should support as well, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to win.
Yeah.
That's more money coming in the household, which we all know money brings happiness. It's not everything, but listen,
it will.
Whoever lied and said that money couldn't buy happiness, it can't. But it can buy a little bit of it, for sure.
Something. You get some, you get something out of it.
Exactly.
And I will say it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because I faced that issue a lot in previous relationships. So I got complaints from my exes like, hey, I don't see enough of you. Mm-hmm. We lived in the same house. And like, I don't see enough of you at that time was I worked a 9 to 5. I went to go do a gig. I was out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy, but there was a time where I did get, and I tell people this is what changed the trajectory of my life, was I was working 12-hour days, right? Sometimes 15-hour days. And I was doing an IT program because I knew going into a different field and going into this field was going to change my life. And I wanted to do it anyway. So I went into it, and then I would get the complaint. I'm like, hey, this is just a sacrificial time. But the morale started changing a little bit, right? And the morale started being, well, cool. If you're not going to spend time with me, if you're not going to do this, then I'll just go ahead and do my thing. Now, in my mind, I'm like, well, the whole purpose of me doing this is so that you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad was an amazing example of that, because my parents shared one car. Most of what I was doing was remote. So I went to work, right? Well, most of my learning, I went to work. I worked a bunch of days. and I would stay on the phone with my significant other, if you will.
Yeah.
And I would stay on the phone so that you had that time, right, that we couldn't have. So I'm like, okay, cool. But then I'll come home like, I need this time. I'm trying to better our lives. And that was too much of a problem. Kids were fine.
Yeah.
Kids spent 35 minutes with me and fell out to sleep. They could remember, all they could remember was we played jacks and we took our time. Daddy took us on the patio. We had, he made these hot dogs. They were burnt. The bread was good though. And like we had ketchup. They were fine. But it was just the other, like my ex couldn't understand that. And this wasn't the first time. I had 3 exes that couldn't understand I'm trying to better my life. And I ask myself now, well, not really now, before you came, I asked myself like, man, I always joke and say, man, your job wasn't the thing. But like, if you knew that this is like, for all y'all that don't know, right? For all y'all that don't know, we have a really nice house. We have a big house, bro. Like it's a big house and we're grateful for it. And we got a car we're sharing. It's a nice car. We have a lifestyle that we have. It's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
But we have a lifestyle that was from the sacrifice that I had. It's like, yo, if you exercise a little bit of patience and didn't drive me crazy, then could you have been in the same house? And more so, do you think you would have earned the right to stay in the house because you said, that's my man, he working, I'm going to just go ahead, I'm going to give him a back rub, he tired. If I come in the house, I'm joyful. I'm joyful, I'm happy, I'm ecstatic. And I come in the house one day and I'm just, you got to know something's wrong.
Yeah.
But if, again, you're in a relationship to only receive, then you're not worried about what I feel like. You're not worried about what my day was like. It's like, hey, so are you going to help me cook dinner? My day was so long watching TV because I didn't have to work. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy. And I mean this with a good heart because the complaints were there about you sacrificing basically for your family and their future, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And it wasn't received well. Now look, Yrvette, and I'm benefiting from those sacrifices that you made.
Right.
So if you don't care, if you're not supportive, another woman is going to benefit from those sacrifices. You don't have to accept it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Another woman will be happy to. And I'm that woman that's happy to accept it. Thank you. And that is no jab to anybody. It's just the truth of life. That's just how it goes.
It's the truth. And I say this, ladies, for all y'all that get impatient. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You either want a fun man who's broke, or you want a man who is striving to be something.
Yeah.
And you stick out with him, meaning that you might not get the time that you need. In those moments, ask him what he needs.
Yeah.
Because now in this situation, in a real life situation, yes, and you do get to benefit. Just imagine, we went on a few dates. You were amazing. You were good to me. And I said, I want to include this woman in my life. I want to include her in my life as if she was already there.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like the internet would be like, oh, all these women want is the finish line. That's not always true.
Yeah.
Because when we went through very, very vigorous moments of struggle, when we had to eat a salami sandwich 3 days in a row.
Listen.
No mayonnaise. Couldn't afford the mayonnaise. Right?
I don't like mayonnaise, no way.
Right. She was fine with it.
Yeah.
But she got to reap the benefit. And she knows that there's going to be a consistent reaping. Even when we go through a dry spell, there's a consistent reaping given the fact that I still have the same heart to go do stuff.
Yeah.
But she has the heart to sit. She has, I tell women all the time, for all y'all that complain about what you're not getting from a man, he should be this and he should be this. And if you were queen enough, you can convince him. If Eve could convince him, if Eve could convince Apple, can convince Adam to eat the apple, to do something bad, God gave him the whole garden. And his wife, and I use the word queen enough, because queen enough means you can convince him to do better. She convinced him to do worse. Then why are you going in a relationship and complaining that a man is not something?
Yeah.
When all you had to do was say, come here, baby, come here. I know you struggling. I know you mad. I ain't do it. Don't bring that energy to me. All right. I know you struggling, but listen, you are working hard. You deserve a break. You need this, do this, do this, do this, do this. A woman that's queen enough, she will be able to do that. Yeah. And Anne has for me, man. I had a whole recorder and I'm like, no, I got to do this. She's like, yo, you are resting. You're going to take rest. And it takes a woman to love you to get you in a situation, get you in a predicament like that. But I will say this, ladies, if you complain about men working hard and they can't be there and they can't do things for you, eventually what's going to happen is you either have them or you don't. And every time I look, and there's no shade, every time I look into my ex's eyes, all three of them, every time I look in their eyes, they're not mad at me because I left them. Two things will happen when you break with a woman. One thing that she will say to her friends, if you tank and you are an absolute bum, is, man, I got off clean. See, tell you when I, but man, if you were successful, she has to look at you and look at the successes that you have and say, I could have had that if I.
Yep.
But the problem is she may not even know how to finish that sentence. And vice versa. A man could say, man, look at her. Look at Ann right now. She with that guy. I don't even know his name, but I could have had her if I. And they don't know how to finish that sentence. They can't finish it. But that anger just surfaces because it's like, I need to figure out a way to get him. I need to figure out how, but you can't. It's too late. What I wanted you to understand was, had you fixed, like you said, focus on ourselves. Had you fixed what you needed to fix, you would have known who you needed to be for me.
Yeah.
So ladies, you can keep them or you can lose them. I'm just saying.
Somebody else will have them.
Because sis out here, she broke the barrier.
Listen.
One day she broke the ice. I said, man, baby, you fell in love with me, right? I said, when did you know? She said this jokingly, but I knew it wasn't her answer. It was a reflection of the man inside me that gave this answer. And correct me if I'm wrong. I said, man, what made you know that you just wanted to date me? What made you know? And I don't really, she remembers. She said, man, when I saw that house, I said, oh, and it was such a passing joking moment. She laughing now. It was such a passing joking moment. But if I was thinking on that internet base, it'd be like, see, she only want me for the stuff that I got. But I was thinking the house was a reflection of how hard I've been working. And I know she was like, oh, this man, he's
doing something right. Listen, and let's be honest, women, no, we don't want a man that doesn't have a goal or a purpose in life. Even if he's not there yet, that's fine. You didn't have to have any of this. Yeah. We could have been in a 1-bedroom apartment looking at each other because we ain't got nowhere else to go because it ain't big enough. Yeah. And that would have been okay. But with your goals, your ambition, and your purpose, I knew we would get there someday. So it didn't matter. Yeah. We can eat bologna sandwiches for a couple years and we'll be fine. Yeah. That's fine. But I know at the end of the day, we're going to get somewhere. And for me, that's what's important. That's it. That's all.
So this might be the episode where I propose to Ann, guys. So
shut up.
Man, she's a real one, man. This is a real one right here. And man, we gotta wrap this show up because it is getting close to that mark. But I really respect the woman that I am looking at right now because she's just in a different mindset, man. And when you find a woman like that, trust me when I tell you, you lock her down. You ain't gonna have Beyonce making me look stupid. I'm gonna put a ring on it. The very last question, we're gonna keep this short because we're almost at our 45-minute mark. What qualifies a person to leave a person that has kids?
That has kids?
Yeah.
Oh, they have kids together?
Yeah.
Ooh, I think, of course, the number one that a lot of people are gonna say is cheating, right? I would say out there, just smashing away. If they cheat physically with another person and like, that's it. Like, and you know in your heart that that's it. And it's not like them. That's not their personality or anything. You guys need to have a conversation because something happened.
Yeah.
They're lacking something and they're looking for it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's situation by situation. Right. So I'm not saying you're wrong. If you're in a relationship, somebody cheats one time and you leave them. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But in some situations, that person's lacking something and you know that they're lacking something and they've told you that they're lacking something. It's like, come on. Yeah. You gotta, figure it out yourselves. You can leave or you can't, but we've had this conversation recently. You have to look within yourself and figure out what you didn't do that pushed them to go and cheat. But when you're talking about habitual, they just out here talking to people, smashing everybody, just doing all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do it. First of all, it's all kind of diseases out here.
Absolutely.
You're bringing back those people's spirits to me. You know, I'm really big on spirits.
Yeah.
My discernment is off the chain.
It is.
And I don't mingle with a lot of people's spirit. So first of all, you're not going to be out there sleeping with anybody and you bringing their spirits to me, and then I'm feeling crazy in the head and I'm trying to figure out why I'm feeling crazy in the head.
Yeah.
And it's because I got 10 different people's spirit in me that I didn't even want or need.
Yeah.
And is very real. So in situations like that, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Now, I will say this. I'm not saying this is right, but I know families now that have men who they step out and a woman knows, like, fine, it is what it is. But here is the thing for me. That habitual thing is, in my eyes, is almost like an addict, right? I don't think that you can make that many mistakes. Yeah. It's a choice. After the first time, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Right? But also there is this transparency. So like I give Ann transparency and I say, hey, I've been going through. And she said, what are you talking about? I've been having dreams about women. I've been having like certain things coming up. I've been having thoughts. Like when I walk in public, my purpose of telling Ann why I'm going through something is so my woman could pray. She could pray. She could say, nope. Yeah. You trying to send something, devil, you're not going to send it. The problem is when you guys don't tell your woman, you let it fester. You watch another porn video. You watch something else. You find a woman. You do it with her. You keep it a secret. And you can't, and I watched this on the video, you can't build a foundation or open the window up to let someone in without building a wall up against your partner. You can't do it. Now, the very difference with like kings and all these people back in the day when they had multiple wives, there was honesty, right? So even in a biblical standpoint, there's an honest aspect of, if you look at even like polygyny, polygyny biblically was a man has 5, 10, whatever wives. They all don't sleep with each other, but the man has to be able to take care of them emotionally, spiritually, physically, all that stuff. It worked. It worked. That was how God had it. And it's still a godly law. It's Americanized that we have one law, one wife, which is not a bad thing per se, because the men who couldn't do that, which was a lot of men, they couldn't do that. So they try to justify their polygyny. They try to say, well, because, I just have these urges, like you dummies out here, excuse me, I'm sorry. Because I have these urges that, I should just have more than one wife. You work at Wendy's. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Bro. And it's like, you don't even know the aspect of, like, David had 2 wives. David was a king. He could have had 50 wives if he wanted to. Can you imagine the turmoil you can have having 2? Women get jealous too. So just imagine just one being like, guys, I'm telling you right now, I have videos in the past. I was wrong. I tried multiple people. I was wrong, because you're dealing with somebody that says, hey, you going on a date with such and such? What about me? Then that person, oh, you going on a date with such and such? What about me? You doing this? What about... I can't do it. I'll be satisfied with one woman. Because the thing is, it's a responsibility to take care of a woman. You might want to run from it as a man. But let me tell you something. It's a responsibility to take care of a woman who needs her emotional needs met. You not only have to teach her how to lead without her emotions, but you have to at the same time cater to her emotions so that she feels sane. It's like her depriving you of sex and telling you, suck it up, buttercup. Y'all not doing that to women. So if before you start looking out for, I want another wife and I want another this, just because you want to get your willy snobbed so much and you really don't have self-control, find that shit out, bro. Because you're not going to be out here breaking hearts. I'm just being honest. And you do whatever you want, but ladies, watch out for those types of men, because I will say this, knowing that there are women out here who just accept it, I know for a fact that at some point in their lives, they just feel broken inside. Yeah. And it's beyond repair. And the kids won't know until they're old enough. And then you have the mom just sit down and be like, I need to have a conversation with you. Yeah. And when they have that conversation, everything will surface in that child and say, that's why you were dead all these years. That's why you couldn't say, I love you for like a year and a half. That's why you didn't come to my games, because I look like my daddy. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's a real thing. And that's one thing you have to watch out for. Now, I'm going to leave with this, and we'll leave with this for the sake of the show, not getting too long. We're 5 minutes close to our time. I had a man, one of my friends, give me a awesome gem. And he said this, and I said this on a previous video. He said, good men don't cheat for experiences. Mm-hmm. Good men cheat because they're really looking for something that they don't have at home. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people won't accept that phrase because, again, everybody thinks, well, there's no such thing as that. Again, no one's all good. No one's all bad. Yeah. That's the 1% of what that guy, the good guy, has done. But when he told me his story was he went out and he slept with somebody who was just and I'm not going to, expose, but he stepped out with somebody who, time for money. Mm-hmm. And when it was all said and done, that person didn't just pick their britches up, or she didn't just pull her panties up and just leave and say, all right, I'm going to just leave. This person literally gave him a back massage, asked him how his day was, all this stuff. And the crazy part was leading up to it, he didn't even know that's what she was. He just met this person, had a conversation at McDonald's. Yeah. And then he was like, oh my gosh, like this person. And then when he found out that's what she was, he was like, well, cool, whatever. And then even still after that, she got what she wanted. She still asked him about his day. She called him the next day. Mm-hmm. She was like, do you need me to bring you food, bro? And meanwhile, this whole time, his wife was just like, why you do this? Why you do that? Why you do this? Why? And the woman, he didn't even know. And it's crazy because when he asked her why she did it, it's because, and a lot of people will judge and be like, well, she's a hoe. She's a this. He asked her why she did it. And his woman did it because she said, there's not enough people in the world that care. Yeah. And he said, well, why are you this person? Why is this your job? And she said, because I actually just need money. And I want to give to people that care. To any person that would be like, that's backwards. That's crazy. That's that. But the reality of the situation was you had a person who was broke that needed money. And it sounds crazy, but she found some type. It's not the purpose you should find. It's not a real purpose. Yeah. But she found something out of what she did to help people. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? Yeah. And for him, that was the straw to know that his relationship or his marriage was over. But that was the straw for him to actually pray and say, God, I don't want to do that no more. Yeah, I know what I'm lacking now. Thank you for showing me what I'm lacking, but I don't want to do that no more because that goes against you. Yeah. But he learned in that situation, yo, I'm not out here because she got a boinky or she got this. I'm out here because, something was taken from me. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that she replenished it. But at the same time, now I want to be in this relationship because I know this person just wants to take from me. Yeah. So all in all, when it comes to people and guys and gals losing their families, I think the biggest portion of it is going to be the neglect to each other. Yeah. You can't have a family without knowing that you two have to be solid within each other.
Have to be on the same page.
Got to be on the same page. Because if you're not, it's going to hurt everybody. Yeah. It's going to hurt everybody. But all right. And tell everybody, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
My name on Facebook is Yrvette Renae. Petway. I think my last name was on there. I don't know. We'll leave the link somewhere in here. And the same for Instagram. They're all my name. All my name.
Cool. And I am Dahn, DAHN _JAY. Please do not follow that account thinking that you're going to get anything of insight. That account is for music. That account is for what my original purpose is before I tap into the other ones. Go to luminoushorizon.org or theluminoushorizon.org. You will find this type of content, this type of stuff that we do. And you will find out exactly more. There's courses up there that can help you. Anne is doing a course also. She's going to modify it so that it sounds more like her. But we're trying to help you guys, okay? So I am DAHN _JAY on Instagram. I am Dontrell Johnson on Facebook. I may be getting rid of that. So if you don't see that, cool. Dontrell Johnson 5 to be exact. And theluminoushorizon.org is where you can find us. And do not forget to watch our YouTube channel, Dahn and Vet. One love at a time.
Yes.
Where you're going to see the fun that we have. We're going to blur out the kids' faces because some of y'all are weird. Very weird. That's right.
And they have mommies.
And they do have mommies. And they'll get you.
Yes.
All right, I'll pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for every one of our listeners, God. We thank you for the people that we are here to help, God. We ask that you bridge these families together. We ask that you allow these people to see the wrong in themselves, to see the hurt in themselves, to heal from what they have healed from, and educate themselves. Seek out the answers that they need to see. If it comes from you, if it comes from a book, if it comes from anything else that they're doing, God, we asking that you teach them where they need to be, and that you teach them their goals. You teach them exactly every single thing, or you guide them to where they need to be so that we bridge the families back together. We understand that families are the bread and butter to life. Before anything else, the family is the bread. The community is the reason we do it. Let them understand that. Help them understand that. We pray for all the people who are dealing with heartbreak. We pray for all the people that are dealing with hurt from past relationships, from past trauma. We pray that you lead them to the water, whatever church, whatever atmosphere, wherever they need to be. We pray that you allow them to get to that standpoint. And God, we just pray that we do have more listeners and more people that we can help as we try to bridge these families back together. In the name of Jesus, the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, man. Dahn J, Luminous Horizon, and
Yrvette Renae.
Luminous Horizon, shedding light on limited perceptions as always.
Bye.
Be lit.